G'day, welcome, Early Crow, episode 63, very special guest off the top. This episode is brought to you by Makita. Right now, get amazing bonuses with selected Makita XGT 40 volt and 80 volt max kits and combos. Limited time only, visit makita.com.au for details. Makita XGTs, more intelligent, more efficient, more power, more Makita. Boys, how are we? Paps is present, Pratty's present, but most importantly, it's fight week, UFC 312, I believe, and our man, your man, PharJack's with us. Great man, freshly buzzed, cut. How are ya?
Yeah, feeling very good. I thought I'd better come on the potty because we kind of made a bit of a tradition for it. I think I've jumped on before every one of my fights, so I thought let's keep it rolling, and we've landed on C.F.Orr week, and it seems like a good time to do it.
Yeah, you've brought a lot of great content with the fighting, but you've also probably tipped as many future winners as anyone else has here. Your racing game's spot on. We're going to start with ponies. We'll get into the fight, and then we'll let Far go. First up, we'll get a report off Tom too with Get a Fix, but where is Epimels at? I heard it had one good trial and might have trialled this morning. I was listening to a big, thick busso on the RSN on the morning walk the other day. He was up and about the horse.
Yeah, the horse, so was I. I was actually out on Saturday morning. I was having a good round of golf, and my phone buzzed and I got a message from Big Busto, and he says, mate, Epimels has gone amiss in track work this morning. He's done a tendon. And I thought, and because he sent me a text message, I'm thinking, fucking Busto's taking the piss here. Like this is a joke. And he said, look, the voice message will be in your mail, but in the email, but I just wanted to fucking shoot you a message anyway. I was like, I would have been on hole 9 or 10, and I've opened it and I've listened to the voicemail, and mate, I cannot tell you how rattled I was. Like I could not hit the ball. I was probably 8 holes to go. I played 3. I was just done. So obviously, like, there's so many implications for a horse like that. Like, obviously now no major at 2 or 3. So, you know, if we're going to rehab him, and they're confident he'll get back, but we miss his 3-year-old year completely. So that means when he comes out of the box, he'll get gelded probably, which means, you know, then you become a prize money horse instead of a breeding prospect. And, you know, he was really well bred out of a Redoubts mare and Dundee. So it was really disappointing, as you can imagine, boys. Especially when I messaged you boys last week, because we were due to trial up this morning against a few of the mailbag horses, and we, like, the ownership group and Trenton, we just couldn't have been more pumped about the upcoming. You know,
I would have heard him on Friday morning talking about it on the radio.
Yeah, well, it happened Saturday morning. Just a regular 800-metre breeze up before a Monday trial.
You'd give him the snip straight away, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I think because he has to go on box rest for a bit, they have to wait until he gets out of that to do it. But he is a big horse. He's a big framed horse. He's a powerful horse. So obviously the less weight we can have on his back, the better off the chance of that tendon healing up is going to be. So yeah, disappointing, but that's horse racing, isn't it?
Horse racing is just a.
That's not too dissimilar.
Yeah, I was just going to say, GCR.
Summer. There's a lot of lead in the pencil, ironically, because this horse has the most lead in its pencil we've ever seen. Get a Fix. He was horny as for this horse, and it did a job there at Caulfield on the wet track, and it was all about the magics, and then just set back up for setback time.
The Crow family's, well, mine and Far's anyway, haven't had too much luck, but yeah, Get a Fix would have started probably $5 to $7 favourite in the 3-year-old Guineas and got an infection. So anyway, that's racing. But
the worst thing about horse racing, I reckon, more than anything else, is that your hindsight's always 20/20 about what you could have done or should have done with a horse. Like, and it's just, it never does you any good, and it you know, you can't make those decisions at the time. But, you know, after we won the Anzac Day Stakes, we were going to go to Queensland to run in. What's the
the JJ Atkins.
The JJ Atkins, and then we decided no, because he was, you know, he went from first jump out to his stakes win in such a short period of time. We didn't want to push him. And then he's come back in the spring and he got sick, so he's gone and missed there. And then now this has happened, and you look back and you start thinking, oh, what if we had done this or that? But it doesn't help anyone.
Might have to get you, like, the early Crow family can cater for you both. I can.
Yeah, we have
I can
to
take
get
you
in
under
online,
an arm each.
don't we?
Just folk in that trial that you were aiming at this morning, like he was hitting the line harder than what was it? Pratty Magic Time.
Yep.
Dual Group
They
1 winner.
spooked that Magic Times trial this morning.
Who was
Fucking
with it?
He
Dicko?
had to ice the biceps after it. Jay
What
Mott.
horse was it though? Sorry, I missed the first bit. Really?
Just folk.
He trialled real nice the
Just
first
folk
time as well.
was just humming in that trial. He might go the races Saturday in the C.F.Orr. He might go the week after in a softer race. We'll just sort of wing it a little bit this week and monitor everything. It's very hot here in Melbourne this week, so a little bit to play out. But he trialled grouse. Keats was in that same trial. He trialled awful. So I guess race the one rule and thing that I've learned in racing that's not really relevant to any of us, but it's a numbers game. I've got a horse that's going good today because I've got 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, I had one just go shit this morning, but the weekend was grouse for us, though. Lazy Susan won.
Lazy Susan Friday.
Valley Friday night. Did you watch that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Did you think we got the photo?
Yeah. I was like, outside, if in doubt, outside always gets it.
Yeah, I thought we got it.
Yeah.
Gee, she savaged that line, Sheen style,
it was
eh?
even hard, eh?
And
it was grouse. It was grouse. It was marked in the sheet. Like I think the way the sheet was pitched was pretty much exactly how the race panned out, and it was like that's what we want.
Yep.
It's a good ride by Logan as well to go.
Let's deep dive into racing in Victoria at the moment. Logan Bates is high value as an apprentice. 3 kilos. He rode every horse we had on the weekend. Very easy to get him on. I reckon we're ahead of the curb, and I think in sort of it could be a week, it could be a month, might be 2 months. It's going to be harder and harder to get him on, and he'll have, along with our man, he'll have a magical winter. Tom will be up there in Sydney kicking goals. Logan Bates will be down here kicking goals. It'll be a massive winter for Logan Bates. I think he's the next sort of proper apprentice to roll through the Victorian ranks. You have like Bo Mertens did it, Ethan Brown did it. It's been a bit thin for a little while. Celine Gaudreau went on a run. Jayla Kennedy showed a little bit, but this time it's going to be Logan Bates. His ride on our horse on Saturday on Shiny New Deal was unbelievable. That's another done deal, but he had a vasectomy like a 1.5, maniac. Couldn't have to lob him off. He's a hothead, hard ride for a kid, and he nailed it. That horse that beat him far. Reveille.
It blew up the clock, did it?
Proper.
They've gone. Did they go? They went like 14 lengths quicker to the 800, and then they've gone quicker again off that pace.
It's a bad race if you're Arrowfield, but life's all right. You're John Massari, you're rich as hell.
Yeah.
But to have Entrusting win the race prior as an Autumn Sun colt and life's pretty good. And then have a benchmark 78 go around the same track and trip 30 minutes later, and the times are disgustingly different. I got great fears for Entrusting and anything in that race. That Reveille, I heard narrative today, and if I didn't hear it, Pratty found a way to find it to me and make sure I did hear it, that he was given a peach. I thought it was one of the worst rides of all time, and that horse just it was back like the Darren Weirdos when John Allen was hit 4 and 6 wide, and the thing had just tow him into the straight, and just go, boom. It was a proper horse. It is a proper horse, and I think it'll win a group race, whether it's autumn, certainly by spring. He's a late developer. It was an enormous win, and I hope the form stacks right up because Shiny Deal is almost as good as him.
Yeah, bloody oath.
I dug far and wide to make sure that Dicko knew every little bit of mail about whoever was on top of Reveille not giving it a peach, because Dicko was so wound up this morning when I talked to him. So I just heard a little sprinkle here and there and just kept jabbing him in the WhatsApp, and I could just feel the tension rising in him. It was fucking great.
Well, it was chaos, that map, to go real deep into racing. Independent Road's your leader. This is sick that I know all this, isn't it? Independent Road's your leader. Nana's Wish is going to come across. That's 1-2 all day, every day. Ete Brute and Dragoon, Shin, Mott want to hold the leaders back. So it fucks D Moore on Blushing Tycoon, which jams whoever rode the good horse. So they had to do a massive sneak handbrake job to get in. Meanwhile, Logan Bates snuck up the inside, cheeky from Logan. 3 back the fence, smoking pipe. The good stuff. Forgivable ride in a way, but the horse had no favours. He wasn't entitled to do what he did, and he's a beast. And there's another horse there on Saturday. This is back on the Lakeside, 1,200 metre start, 3 wide the trip for Charlotte Littlefield. She's bulletproof. Holy fuck. It's 3 wide the trip, and it was like they were standing still in the last 200. It kicked their heads in. I thought So Glamorous was a run on a horse to follow out of that, along with Tashi. I thought Tashi had settled a lot closer than it did. It's early in its prep. I think it was first up, potentially. I think Tashi's got a bit of upside for you if you want a black book one.
It was first up.
What else have I got for you? Mighty, God bless it, and God bless Blake Shin, God bless PG Moody, Kathy Coleman.
That's one I did watch.
Smooth.
That thing was winning from the fair. Well, Shin thought it was winning from the 1,000 anyway. That was as soon as he jumped, he was like, "I'm on the winner." He was just travelling the whole way out, wasn't it? I was like, "Geez, is he going to let it go?" And then he just let it go, and it was home. But geez, I was a little bit worried there. I thought he was on winks, and then ended up winning anyway. Didn't matter.
Yeah. Horse out of that race to follow, Pratty. What's he called? Bill Papadakis trains.
I'll find
Dollar
out.
Chaser.
Right now, that would be the one. Yep, Dollar Chaser.
It was enormous. Nick Ryan's horse, that nice horse he's got far, might
Winner's
be a done
Edge.
deal. Winner's Edge.
Winner's Edge, yeah.
It was very good, in for a nice preparation.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
think it needed the run. So it's got a lot of improvement to come out of that run.
Let's savage the line though.
What did you think of First Immortal there? Like back to winning form, but I know it didn't beat any stars.
A hard horse to trust because the tempo in that race isn't like a test for those horses, but showed the talent that he's always had. I thought.
Yeah. I thought it's one of those things. Without looking at the clock, it was real impressive to the eye. Looked like it just put the race to bed in a couple of strides and did it.
Yeah. And you remember like maybe 18 months ago, like it was spiraling towards it. It might have run in a Geelong Cup and like started real short in it on a track to a Melbourne Cup. So Jay Carr might have gone on it then. Blake Shin looks to have a nice affinity with that horse. I thought it was a really nice win. I agree. Speaking of Jamie Carr, the horse that she won on in the first New York Luster, I'd say that's about its ceiling now. It'll go around again and be too short when it does. And in the last race, Umgawa did Umgawa things. 3 wide cover the trip, savaged it again but didn't win. Windstorm was 4 wide the trip, and probably the run of the race. He might be back, and he might be backing up on Saturday at Caulfield. Standby punters.
Is that Caulfield for Saturday or Caulfield for Super Bowl Monday?
Look, we give Kanga a little bit, or we certainly do off air. Old Chompers, he loves talking about himself in the third person, but he's making massive inroads into racing in Victoria. Having a day on like Super Bowl Monday at Caulfield is fucking genius.
Mate, Kanga's
it's so obvious. Why hasn't it already been done? But he's the one doing it again.
Kanga is the man.
I didn't even know that was on.
He's an operator too. He's
the
always there.
Mate, Kanga, I had a lunch with Kanga, and there was obviously a few others there, and then the next Friday, I saw him at the Valley, and I was in like Valley form. I wasn't in fight form, and I was with about 10 of me mates. And Kanga walks up, larger than life. Kanga's here, boys, and he goes, "You boys, members at Caulfield?" Oh, well, nah, none of us are MRC members. We're members like at the Valley in Flemington. And he goes, "Jack, send me all of their names. You're all members at the MRC now. Well, you boys, we need you around the club. We got your memberships at the MRC. Send me everyone's names. Off we go." And then he just goes, "See you, boys," and walks off. Kanga's gone. Kanga's gone. And they're all young. And it's like, they're all young lads, and we're from the West, so we would never probably, go out there off our own back. But then you go, geez, a bloke like this is running the place.
Yeah,
I'm going out.
Yeah.
Like, we're in
He's
now.
lovely. He's real
we're
nice,
actually
isn't he?
Kanga's boys. Like,
Yeah.
We're
Kanga's
invited by the chairman.
Far, would you say Kanga's potentially like a black booker? Like, is he on track to run, Victorian racing? Is he our PVL?
Oh. Where Kanga goes, I follow. That's what
Yep.
I say. Where Kanga goes, I'm there.
Yeah. He parades a lot better than PVL. Tucks his shirt in.
Jeez, it wouldn't be harder to
suit
parade better than
fits.
PVL, though, let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's all I've really got for you off the top of my head, just freestyle and Sandown. I thought the track race grouse, the vibe on track was enormous considering it was that fucking hot. The UV, I don't know what UV rays like indexes are. It was bumping the top of the meter.
Yeah, it was. I know my girlfriend always gives me a little update on the UV, like if I've got to go for a run or something. UV's this, UV's that. And I know for a fact that she told me the UV was really high.
Me and Das had to like commando it fucking from like tree to tree to go and see Windstorm and Shiny Deal just to hide in the shade. It was tough work out there. Thursday night, we saw a proper horse. This horse will go from a benchmark 64 at the Bermuda Triangle of Form Pakenham. It'll win a group race. It's Naughty Benny, one of the great named horses in Victoria at the moment. McDonald trains, Mellum rides, Ben Mellum. The biggest number I've ever seen that sort of distance range at a Pakenham meeting. It's a really nice horse. And it's a horse you can follow with confidence. They was in last week versus this sort of... Was it Pondalaois in that, Pratty?
I can't remember, actually.
It was in a group race at Sandown. It was 21s into 11s. I backed it. And they scratched. They went to Pakenham.
Not a Clinton McDonald plunge. No way.
No, they scratched. It was half soft at Pakenham. But it dead set pissed in, and it was so nice to watch it do it with Terry Bailey calling it. I think he called it home at about the 700 before it even got into the straight. So
it was the Manford Stakes it was in. You are correct.
Speaking of Terry Bailey, did you see the 2-year-old race at Sandown on Saturday?
What was the winner?
Oh, it wasn't the horse that the caller called winning.
Oh yes,
so it's Matt Hill, so it's all good. It's sweet. He's the best in the business.
Really?
Don't knock him.
He's
Southport
on
Tycoon. Whatever it was called, the green horse. Wrong group race. If that was TB.
What are your thoughts on the 2-year-old Dicko down in Melbourne?
Average. Anyone.
There's not much in Sydney either on the data either.
It's not a...
Except for that Wotan, obviously. It depends on...
Nah, I reckon...
It's hard to judge Wotan because of this really slow tempo, but the number it did last 600 is huge, so it's got a sprint.
Which was the
United
horse
States
that you backed at the 2-year-old race in Sydney that was wide, not suited, but good?
That United States, it held up back west of
United
midfield.
States. Yep.
That might be the one.
Wallace.
I reckon that was off one trial as well. I reckon that would have I haven't checked, but even 1,400 as well.
I'd say right now, if I had to have a bet, I got no idea the prices. My Gladiola and Miss Celine are the two most exciting 2-year-olds in Melbourne.
What do you having a bet on, the diamond or the slipper?
The diamond.
I like Apocalyptic.
Has that raced?
Yep. Had one start, got absolutely smashed up, held up in traffic, and ran second to Galanero.
Oh, yeah.
You go back and watch that run, it was easily the worst beat of the day. And I'm saying that, and I backed Galanero.
Well, I'm with you though, Far. Like it feels like a year where anything could happen.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a horse, the Hayes boys train. It debuted over in Adelaide, Gin Spirit. The time it ran over there is sometimes, but it's good. Natural progression. It's a player. Yeah. I'm not in love with any 2-year-olds in Victoria other than probably my Gladiola, and I really liked Miss Celine's work. Like, it was not suited badly last start and hit the line hard. It's a winner at Caulfield, so you'll be back at Caulfield for the big race. It lines up a little bit in my mind, but apart from that...
My Gladiola's $4. Miss Celine's about 26s.
Yeah, I don't like Miss Gladiola anymore. The $4 is a joke.
Whatever the other one that you said might be out in the market, the thing from Adelaide is 51s.
That's probably unders too. The
Spirit.
price about Miss Celine's good.
Is Apocalyptic in the slipper market?
It's not in the slipper market. That was the Blue Diamond. Let me look for the slipper.
I think my Gladiola's like... I was talking to Gano, and he was saying that, and I think he was talking to Pete as well, saying that I think my Gladiola's on the data. He's he's top 2 or something in on punting form. I reckon even like
You know, like I'd
Yeah,
agree
you're not taking
with that,
$4.
but $4.
But
Apocalyptic $11 for the slipper.
It would have ran a real good last 200, I reckon, that My Gladiola.
Yeah, it's gone
Honestly.
fucking enormous. It's proper.
travelled elite as well.
Miss Celine started $12. It started $5.50. Gladiola $5.50. Celine $12. They're as good as each other.
Do you take that as much into account with horses that haven't raced as much, that are 2-year-olds?
Well,
What
I just
things?
like that Miss Celine's like building into a prep.
Yep.
Like I know her more. I like them. The more I see, the more I like and trust to have a bet. Like Gladiola, we've only seen once. You know, like look at Epimels, look at Keats, look at Get a Fix. There's a lot of ways to get beat in this sport, and taking $4 about a 2-year-old you've seen once is probably the number one way to do it. So
True.
I think having a little specky at Miss Celine at $21, that's, you know, had 2 really nice performances at the races. Yeah, it could be the way.
If you are, that's an all-in market 2 punters, so if it doesn't run, you will do your cash.
The expert, he knows this sort of stuff.
Speaking of all-ins, Fire, you got anything for this weekend? Any of the features?
I want to try and, like, I'm always, not because I don't like Mr. Brightside, but when he goes around in these 1,400-metre early seasons races, I'm trying to get him beat. And usually I can convince myself to back something to beat him. And I am struggling a little bit this weekend. I don't know, like...
Somebody on the call just got offended, I think.
What's that?
No.
No, I've heard that it's got real good trial form. But I just don't. I just can't convince myself to back anything to beat it. And if I can't get excited about that, then I'm just not going to bet.
I think the 2 horses, if you had to have a bet now, are Stapati and Southport Tycoon. Southport Tycoon off the dominant SP in the decent race at Moonee Valley. Stapati was the best run in that race.
Yep, the Australia Stakes.
I don't think Swartz will win another race in its life unless it goes back in grade and races against Custard. I think it's limited. I think it was blessed at Moonee Valley, and I'm just a bit harsh on it.
Do you not think that it's just a much better horse since it got gelded?
Potentially, but I just don't believe in it.
Look at
the horses that were like near it, and they were sort of okay. Like, what was the horse that ran second to it at Moonee Valley? It's a fucking 955 horse
At the Valley, did you say
not along the river. It's
Apache Song and It's Our Time?
Apache Song and It's Our Time.
Yep, Stapati ran second, but
Yeah, but
came
the
from the clouds.
horses that were on pace with it, it didn't like completely kill them. It just built a gap and then held it.
Will it suit the Caulfield turn as well?
Whereas the parties,
like the Valley, does it suit the Caulfield turn? That's what
yeah.
Is the bonus with it, I think. The Valley turn and the Caulfield turn.
Well, that's the most exciting and sick about Saturday at Caulfield is we haven't raced there much, if at all, since the carnival, and it threw up some of the most random, rankest track biases of all time. So
Not as bad as fucking the weekend in Sydney. Ugh.
oh, that's every week in Sydney. That's why Paps has just got to he just sits in the bushes.
That's
and
good. I like
snipes them.
that. Up and in at Rosehill all day, every day.
Oh, look at this! Windstorm's $11 in the fucking JRO plate. That's outrageous.
rude. That's just downright rude. Can you let me have a bet before you have a bet?
No, I thought we'd get like $41 or something.
Dicko, while we're on the topic of the Blue Diamond, is there anything in that horse LaRue that's been belting horses in Adelaide? Have you seen any of its
Yeah,
figures?
no, definitely. It's not a year of just like a beast, you know? Where's the beast? This Saturday will sort of define where we're at. There's another set of preludes, and that's like the final piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
If one of those horses that are in the market, like a My Gladiola, come out and win, it'll start like $2 something in the Blue Diamond. Yeah, it looks to me like a year where anything could happen, and that's exciting. You can sort of wait and take your time and map the Blue Diamond when it happens and price that Blue Diamond, and you're very likely going to have, like we did last year, and we backed the winner, and she started 20 to 1, I reckon.
Hayasugi.
But we had about 4 or 5 bets in that race, you know?
I reckon we backed Hayasugi. We backed that Kurianagi. There was a few others as well.
Yeah, you backed Hayasugi and Kurianagi, and I liked Coleman, and you weren't a fan, Dicko, because it ran the same number
that other
as
thing
ran the same number as Kurianagi and just had a better
Better run.
run. I remember it because I reckon it was this week for my fight last year.
Jeez, we're all not sick, are we?
No.
Yeah.
I think in Sydney, there's not like I was saying. In Canterbury, I don't think you can take any of them for the slipper. The winner got absolutely blessed, and I just don't Blitzberg. I don't think that's going to the slipper. I doubt it. It's not. Doesn't look that great, and everything in behind it in Mate Ground was blessed. Playwright did it tough on speed, but was suited by the track pattern, but did it tough on speed. We'll go forward. Gay Waterhouse, and then the two others out of that race, the Widden race, Tempted was bloody good ride by Clark. Took it back from the widest draw up the inside, and got the runs. And then the other one was Snitzel Miss. He couldn't take anything else out of those races. I think it was 3.
Did
just
Tempted
missed
win?
and trialled an absolute bomb as well.
Yeah, because Lindsay
Yeah,
was.
and I was
like,
gonna.
wrecked.
I think Zav gave it like an 8.5 out of 10 or something.
Oh, you should have heard him. Oh, it's an 8.75 or an 8.5 or maybe it's a 9. Like, calm down, boys. Put him away.
Yeah.
It trialled good. It's a
But-
good horse.
I reckon the Snitzel Miss and Tempted are the ones.
Maybe Tempted
Well,
sneaks
yeah,
down
well-
for the Blue Diamond.
That's what I was thinking. Does anything like from Sydney come down and then go back? Like, does any Blue Diamond horse go to the slipper as well? Because there's not much around. Like, this could be the year where you could go bang bang.
Perhaps any horses or things of interest to take away from the weekends or the weeks
Not
racing
much.
up there in Sydney?
To be honest, just be very careful. Obviously, Rose Hill up and in. Look to forgive horses that got back and trust some SPs, and if they can draw a gate, I reckon.
It was pretty tough.
Yeah, that was one of the tough Willado. That was one of the tougher wins I've seen. I don't even know how it just got its head down. It's crazy. Yeah.
I'm glad it did. I didn't want you to crumble.
We'll see what happens. I put the pressure on you and you bounce back.
I didn't bounce back. Like, I opened the shoulders and put one in.
That's what I mean. But if I'm not putting the pressure on you,
Like 2.5 years.
because all Pratty does,
2.5 at 7.
all Pratty does is just massage your balls and does this. I've got to put the pressure on you.
I do have one from the weekend, Dicko. Can you explain to me how is it Dakota Keene ended up in the Stewards report?
Oh,
the ride on
you've
Independent
triggered
Road?
me now. Righto. Oh, fuck. I forgot about this. Racing has a genuine, like, sickness, illness, disease, and a problem. And the treatment or the cause or the problem, I don't know where it originates, but it is the illness thrives on the stewards. Racing participants, trainers, some owners, some jockeys, they fucking hate going fast. They hate it. Dakota Keene went 2.3 lengths faster on Independent Road in race 8 or 9 than Mick D went on the same horse, second up this prep, same trip, same track. Nothing in the report for Mick D that day. 2.3 lengths faster, 7th or 8th up in a prep. Like, it's fucking go time. You know, what are you trying to, like, build it into a prep? It's 8th up. It should be in the paddock, probably. She's entitled to rev. As we spoke about at the start, that race was chaos because Ete Brute, Dragoon, Blushing Tycoon, and the eventual winner, they all showed a bit of intent, including the, like, 400-to-1 horse. He was up there punching at the start, too. He was 20 lengths off him on the bottom of the corners. It's amazing stuff. But, like, she was encouraged to go quicker than she wanted to in the sort of first third of the race. She took a breather for a second, and then she took off on the horse and was brave. And for that bravery, because the horse failed, she was berated by the stewards publicly and half thrown under a little bit. And I think it sucks. The week before, Revelier, we saw, was the slowest tempo I've ever seen in my life on a Saturday race.
33.4 lengths slow to the 600.
What?
Mate, it's the most frustrating thing about Australian racing, isn't it? It's like you go out there and we get these farcical tempos, these sit and sprints, and they clutter up at the turn, and you just go, oh, well, this is just, you know, a joke. And then you have someone go out there and actually put a bit of pace on and try and get into the race, and they get a slap on the wrist.
And because we've seen that tempo in a benchmark 78, we've potentially seen like a group horse come out of it. Because we've identified talent because of like tempo within the race. It's mind-boggling to me, two things. How unintelligent it is and just poor to sort of, they seem to target the younger participants, younger jockeys. And the fact that it's done in 2025 with like absolutely no data evident in the steward report. Like, how fast did she go? Was she going too fast? Well, no, she made it. She had a significant margin and it got beaten 8 lengths. So she went too fast.
How fast is too fast? Like,
that's what I mean. Like, if Pride Jenny wasn't Pride Jenny and she punctured in the great race, like one of the greatest races we've ever seen, he would have got like hammered in the steward's room.
Yep,
it's fucked.
That'll just about do us with Eyes on Ponies. Shall we speak about what's upcoming on Sunday and why Dicko and I are wearing shirts so we make sure that Far doesn't feel a little bit insecure about how poorly his body's conditioned at the moment?
I did a button up just to take the pressure off him when I sat down. I had more on them. It's 45 degrees. Look at the size of them. So, Sunday, we're fighting. Let's focus on you first.
Yep.
We're talking UFC. We're talking 312 Sydney. What are we weighing in at when weigh-in comes? What are we now? And what would you be if we played golf on a normal day when you weren't preparing to fight someone?
Right now, I'm about 72, weighing in at 66. And I reckon the day the four of us got together and played golf, I would have been 78, 79. And I reckon when me and Paps were in the basement at Bambi, I would have been about 81.
Did you say 66 kilos from
Yes.
So 6 kilos from now?
Yeah, that's easy.
Till when?
Mate. That's a lot of guys do more than that.
Yeah,
so
right. You weigh in Friday, yeah?
Yeah, Sydney's a unique event because we weigh in on Friday and we don't fight till Sunday. So I actually get almost 48 hours to rehydrate and reload. So I'll be a big boy in there. Like I'll be a strong, thick unit by the time the fight comes around. The key is not trying to get on too much, but you just get up to where you naturally sit and then you're good.
Yeah, because it's usually the day before, yeah? So you've got an extra, 12 hours?
Yeah, so when I was on the regional scene, it used to be like if we fought Friday night, you weigh in Thursday night, so you only have 24 hours. But then the UFC brought in a thing where you can weigh in the morning of the day before, so they gave people more time.
Yeah.
The hard thing about rehydrating and refueling is you need to sleep. So what would happen is guys would go home and, if they weigh in at 7, and then they get a couple of hours to get some water down, you have one meal and you go to bed and you wake up and you've only put on like a couple of kilos and you might have cut 6 or 7. So they change it to the morning so that guys can get sort of 3 meals in, all their fluids back, and then you treat fight day just like a normal day. You're not trying to smash food down.
Talk us through how you get into 66. Like, is it, are you stressed about it or you get down to that easy?
You always stress. Like you fight week, I was explaining to someone today, like fight week honestly makes you go you go a little bit mental, and like most people who fight are a little bit mental anyway. But you get like you just start thinking the weirdest, most dire shit about everything going on in your life, and then you feel like you wake up in the morning and I'll shadow box in the mirror. I'll be like, you are the man. Like you are ready for Taporia. Like fuck everyone else, just fight for a championship. And then an hour later, I'll be sitting on the couch thinking, why the fuck do I do this? This is the dumbest shit ever. Like you just go through so much. You probably go through something similar like when you're coming up to a grand final, perhaps, or I don't know. But you get caught in your head all the time. And the key, as I've got older and had more fights, you just learn to don't listen to either. Don't go right up when you feel right up, and don't let yourself feel down when you feel down. You just ride it out. Just
sort of gently ride the waves out the back of the surf a little bit.
Exactly. And by the time I get to the fight, I'm I just go cold. I have no emotion at all. I've got no feeling. I'm just ready to do the job.
That sounds like me and Pratty by about race 7 on a Saturday.
Just go.
Yeah. Depends if any other winners between races 1 to 6, if I'm over racing or not.
Talk us through Santos. What's what are you expecting from him?
Look, Santos. In horse racing terms, I'm just gone through my grades and I'm coming up to maybe you would say this is my first stakes race, and he's come out of 3-year-old form where he's been running in group races, but now he's dropping down. So he fought his first fight in the UFC was against Lerone Murphy, who's ranked 7 in our division, and he lost a split decision, but 9 out of 10 of the media judges had him winning that fight. So on form, you could go, he's probably about a 7 in the division. You know what I mean? So he's right up there. And then he's come out in his last fight and starched the winner of Road to UFC in the first round. So hard to read like our form lines against each other, but both really good, both sort of from that new wave of MMA fighters where we've both always been MMA guys. We're not coming from a jiu-jitsu background or a wrestling background. We're both just pure MMA guys. So easily will be my toughest test. But I think where I'm going to have him covered is he's very well programmed. Like he's got good things that he does really well. Whereas my biggest strength is that I think really well. Like I can sort of analyze him and pick him apart and download. I was talking to my sister about this, and she goes, "Oh, you're like so." It's like the robot off The Incredibles. Like you're the robot. How he's downloading Mr. Incredibles like that. And I was like, yeah, that's a great analogy. The longer every minute that I get to see him in the fight and see more of what he does, the better it bodes for me.
Do you watch lots of tape before you go into it, or is that a coach's thing to do to just let you focus on what you need to focus on, and then they just feed you little bits of information?
Yeah, so coaches, for me, the guys watch a lot, and then they sort of plan it out and program it out for me. And we have I have like an A, B, and C pyramid of like the striking and the grappling. And if he does this, I do this. If he does that, I do this. And then obviously you just have your broad plan. And obviously fights never go to plan, but it's much easier to feel relaxed and in a rhythm if you kind of have an idea of what you want to do rather than just, I'm going out there to scrap.
So is he a grappler, or are you targeting, like, are you going to be kicking, boxing, or will he target your grappling?
I don't know. So this is where you have to play the guessing game. Like, where does he think his best chance of beating me is? If I was going to put money on it, I would say I think he would think he has a better chance grappling, right? Whether he might think he's better than me everywhere. Like, I think I'm better than him everywhere. But I reckon if his coaches and that have had a look, they'll probably go get it to the ground, which, I'm okay if it goes there, but I'm not interested in winning fights by grappling. Like there's less money in it. There's less notoriety. There's less fun. I'm just not interested in winning fights that way. I want to keep it on the feet and I want to get knockouts. So I'm going to do everything I can to keep it on the feet. And I honestly reckon I'm going to knock him out with a head kick.
That'd be nice. I'll be there. I'll be. If that happens, I'll be jumping the cage.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be sign for dust to watch that at 5.
And it's like the main event prelim fight. Hey, it's the last fight before the main card. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's also that's a massive opportunity for me too, because the main event prelim, it's the last fight on free-to-air TV. So if people aren't buying the pay-per-view or whatever, it's going to be the last fight they see. And the UFC aren't dumb. They put people on that space for 2 reasons, right? They either want to make a star of one of you who's in those fights, so they think that you have that potential, so they put you in that slot to give you more exposure, or they think the fight is going to be so good, they put it in that slot so that it encourages people to buy the pay-per-view. So either one of those reasons, it bodes well for me.
How's the camp been overall compared to your last 2 camps, 3 camps?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
Any tweaks from the previous ones? Do you change things? Do you evolve it?
Yeah, you change things all the time. I've probably for this one, I did a little bit more strength and conditioning. I just felt like towards the end of last camp, I got a little, off, just imbalanced with certain things because you're just getting hit so much and wrestling so much. And then you realize like your right hip is a little weaker than your left hip and you feel a little awkward in one stance or the other. So a little bit more strength and conditioning, not focusing on lifting heavier, but just activating stuff that wasn't necessarily activating. And that's about it. Like I generally don't think about it at all. Like I show up and just kind of put myself at my coach's mercy all the time. So I find that the best way for me to do, because I put the trust in them to do the work and put me on the right path. And then all I have to do is just show up every day and do what they tell me. If they say it's an easy day, I know it's an easy day. That's fine. If I show up and they say we're having a really hard day, we've got this, then I just do that. And I find it much more peaceful for me rather than having to think about
dwelling on what's going to
dwelling on what's coming or what I'm going to be doing.
Because I can imagine that's big for you with the way you fight as well in making sure you feel even on both sides, because you do like to switch your stances a fair bit in your fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I go both ways. So, like, if I feel weak in my right hip and I can tell straight away, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be standing in southpaw because I don't have that same power that I have from orthodox, or vice versa. So I feel like I've really ironed out some creases in that sense. But I think the biggest thing that you're going to see different from me this time is I am just more seasoned in the UFC now. Like, I think you boys would agree that my last performance was sort of a breakthrough. Like, it felt like I hit another level, and that's because
it was very, very like clinical.
Yeah, I thought it was all over
controlled, like domination.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, people say, like, under the bright lights, you've got to get used to it, and it's it is different. The pressure's different in the UFC. I don't care how many fights or whatever. Once you get in the UFC, it's a completely different kettle of fish. But I feel like I've found my feet in there now, and I'm really starting to,
So I was going to ask, you've had this will be your third fight in Australia?
This will be my fourth. 2 in Perth, and this will be my second in Sydney.
If you were to dominate again, what's next? Like, are you going overseas? You want to get on a main card? Like, how close are you to you think you get on that main card?
Oh, like, if I win this one in the fashion that I think I'm gonna, like, let's say I head kick KO him, then I'll be either, International Fight Week in Vegas, or something along those lines. I'll be really pushing my way up there. And I want to have 3 or 4 fights this year. And then there's you always try and look at the best case scenario and aim for that. Like, you don't start a footy season and go happy with 10th. You know what I mean? Like you're going to go, what's the absolute best case scenario for me? And the absolute best case scenario is I have 3 fights this year for 3 finishes, and then I'll sit down with the Victorian government and say, hey, let's put the bid in to come back to Rod Laver early next year, and then I'll main event a show here in Melbourne.
I love you.
That's what I love about which is...
It might be a Liberal government by then too.
Yeah, bloody oath. And you know what? The old racing minister, Dennis Napthine, he'll put me in contact.
Well, you know who will?
We'll make some
Kanga.
calls.
You know who will?
Kanga. We'll make the calls. We'll get it done. Pump, $60 million back into the Melbourne economy on the back of PharJack.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome. One that's a little bit not directly about the fight, but do you reckon the UFC starting or doing a better job in looking after its fighters? Like, I can't imagine how much relief that must have been to shift your weigh-in 12 hours earlier. Do they do a good job of looking after the fighters?
Look, there is the UFC. I've never seen a company run as smooth as they run. Everything they do from when you arrive on fight week until when you leave, and especially when you're at the show, it is like they just must have some really good operators, and they must take real good care of them because they don't miss anything. Everything is done for you. Like, from when I get there, I already got sent this form. What meals do you want every day? Any dietaries, this sort of stuff, that. I've got physios there every day. They fly them out from Vegas, these like world-class physios. My media schedule's all done for me for the whole week. And they do it all with a smile. It's like, what do you need to make this fight week better for you so that you can put on the best performance for the fans? You'll get it. So yeah, they take care of you great like that. It would be nice if they took a little bit better care of our financial circumstances. But I think in any sport, we're always going to want a little bit more and a little bit more. But for those people who don't, like the regular punters who might not know, the other big American sports, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, they all have revenue share agreements between the players' unions and the association. So whether it's all somewhere between 40% and 50% of revenue must go to the players. So if the league has a good year, the players have a good year. We don't have that. They think that around 4 to 6% of revenue from the UFC goes to the fighters, and that's obviously heavily skewed towards the top end. I don't know if those are updated figures. I imagine it's probably getting better and better. But the company sold for $4 billion, like that, and that was years ago. And
it'd be in its prime now, wouldn't it?
So Exactly, yeah. But it depends how you
I'd say its prime started
Yeah.
with Connor. Like
Yeah.
Connor
and
made you.
Connor and Ronda Rousey. Like people got to give Ronda her credit. Like she was a big part of that.
See Connor on the bus at the Trump's inauguration.
Oh my god.
Like,
He's gone. Now
gone, isn't he?
his head's
he
like
now he wants to box or
head's
something. Is
pretty
that right?
fat
He wants
and
to box like Logan Paul or something.
He wants to box Logan Paul in Mumbai for that. What's the family? The Adani family that are worth hundreds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I reckon, boys, like for the Crow family, I'm not allowed to bet on the UFC, right? Like I can't have a bet, but I can definitely steer you towards a couple. And I've got a special which like will just strike at the hearts of the Crow family. So there's 3 boys on the card from Melbourne, and it's Jack, Jake, and Jimmy. That's our names, right? And the 3 of us all trained together from when we were teenagers, and then we've all gone our separate ways because we all needed different things from our careers. But myself, Jake, and Jimmy, and I'm pretty sure you'll find that we're all the underdogs in our fights. Or maybe Jake might be a favourite, but Jimmy and I are definitely underdogs. And I think this sets up for a great little 3-way multi here.
Triple J.
Triple J.
Jack, Jake, and Jimmy all up is $9.51. I think is it Jimmy Crute? Is that correct?
Jake Matthews.
Jimmy Crute's $2.31. Jake Matthews is $1.44, and our man is $2.86.
Just quietly on
That's
that.
disgraceful.
$2.86. What's that as a percentage? Is that give like 24%, 25%, isn't it?
It's disgraceful. It's what it is. It's
Yeah.
lack of respect.
No,
and I want you to.
I love
I'll be
it.
driving $2.80 everywhere.
34%.
Yeah.
I'll be looking at in the mirror.
Rinse them.
2.8. Go and fuck yourself.
That's
Yeah,
good
that's
for
right.
us, boys. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look, if you're allowed to bet, if I was allowed to bet, I would be fucking smashing that button. But I can't.
Oh,
Yeah, look. Gone are the days Floyd Mayweather used to just go put $100,000 on himself before fights. That'd be another. I think if not, like from a philosophical point, I should be allowed to bet on myself if I want.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world's fucked.
Yeah.
You can do this and you can't do that.
Yeah. Oh well. Oh well.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. It's locked in at my joint. I said, Michelle, Sunday's booked. She's like, far fighting? I was like, how'd you know? Yep. She's like, I'll watch
what
it
time are
when
you
it comes
fighting for? What time's the first fight? Like the prelims? Because it's early, eh?
I'm on at
Yeah.
I'm on at 1:30.
Okay.
1:30. So, can you let the crust know that, mate? So I'd aim for
Tell him
11.
12 o'clock.
Just to give yourselves a bit of fucking leeway.
Who's coming?
I ended up
Who did
getting
you
10.
get tickets for, Paps?
So all the boys are in, mate. They're that keen.
Now, before we start the main card, is this the bloke? I saw not Joe Rogan. Who's the boss man?
Dana White.
I saw Dana giving this bloke one of the biggest fucking sprays of all time.
No. You're
when I was
Bryce Mitchell.
Bryce Mitchell said someone said some Nazi
Have you
shit,
seen
and he's
it?
going like, "It's free speech. He's a fucking moron. He's a fucking idiot. He's a dumb."
Mate, it's so funny. Like Bryce Mitchell starts a podcast, and it's episode 1, right? And this like literally episode 1, and he sits there and he goes, "You know what? I actually think Hitler was a good guy." And he's dead set. He goes, I would have gone fishing with Hitler. He's like, because Hitler was trying to stop like the gays and the queers. And he's like he says this stuff. And you just look at you going, this is a train wreck. Like, you got to stop. And then Dana White comes out and he's like, yeah, Bryce Mitchell's a fucking idiot. And he's like, he goes so hard at him because Bryce Mitchell only has like one ball or something because he was on a roof like...
Yeah, that's what he goes. He goes, you got to remember, this guy put a drill through his ball sack.
Yeah.
And then the fucking idiot had to take it back at it to reverse the drill out of his ball sack. This is the sort of intelligence we're talking about. He's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
I feel bad too because like I reckon Bryce... Look, I think he probably regrets saying that.
So?
He was just a bit misunderstood name. But he... Like then there was a Jewish guy in the UFC, I think, who tweeted him and goes, hey, Bryson, like, no hate, but I'd love to, like, hang out with you, cook you some Israeli food, and, like, we can even go to, like, the Holocaust Museum together or, like something like this. And Bryce tweets back, he's like, hell yeah, brother, I'd love to fight you too, or, like, nothing, I got respect for you and your people. So, like, I don't think he necessarily
Yeah.
is as bad as that statement might make.
I think it might be exactly like what Dana said. He's just a moron.
Yeah.
He's a sweet little moron.
Yeah.
So back to the big fight. Who the guy's not a moron, but he's very good value with a microphone.
Oh.
Big Strickland. He's got some views and he ain't afraid to share them. Who's he fighting, Pratty?
Duplessis, the
South African. What's going to happen?
Drickus is like he is a freak anomaly in the sport. Like he is. I don't know. Is there anyone in any sport like that's as similar who's just like on all metrics to the eye, he's trash. Like any other sport, like someone that just shoots ugly in basketball or like kicks terrible in footy, but they just make it work.
Stuart McGill?
I don't even know. But he's like, you watch him fight and you go, how does this guy beat world-class fighters? He's terrible. I remember I trained with a South African guy and he had trained with him in South Africa. And when he got into the UFC, he goes, this guy, I trained with him growing up. He's legit. He's a freak. Like he just dominates people. And I remember watching his first fight and thinking, you're fucking clueless. This guy sucks. Like he's no good. And then he just wins and wins and wins and wins. And he does it in ways that just, like the way he beat Adesanya, like running forward, falling over his feet. It's unbelievable. He's just a great fighter.
So are you siding with the South African?
Yeah, I think the South African wins. And then we've got the other two, Jimmy and Jake, on the main card there. And then I as a general rule, I won't bet on fights at all. But if I was going to talk about betting on fights, I wouldn't bet on girl fights. They're just the skill difference is too hard to line up any form. Difference between someone striking and someone's grappling, and then the difference between someone ranked number 8 and ranked number 1. Like the skill difference between someone in the women's division ranked number 8 and ranked number 2 might be the same as in the featherweight division, my division, someone ranked number 10 and someone ranked number 150. Just such a big gap. It's too hard to line up.
Right.
And if you're gonna have a punt, it's too hard to line it up in that respect, I think.
Women's sport as a whole though is like gaining serious momentum, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
The women's Ashes was grouse.
We wiped them, didn't we?
I prefer watching women's tennis than male tennis now. The male tennis is just like
Too powerful.
I like how that. Yeah, it's just like a big rally on a ping pong court, like we're warming up, versus like trying to win the point. You know what I mean? Like that guy in the final, like he couldn't hit the ball past him. Like he just found a way to get to it and hit it back. So anyway, we'll talk about that later on. We're with the South African to beat the American in the main event. We're very much all over the $2.80. Outrageous, disgraceful, and disrespectful for our man Jack Jenkins. And don't forget Triple J, the all up.
Yeah.
On behalf of Tom, Pratty, and myself, man, and everyone at the Early Crow, everyone who's listening, we genuinely care for you and wish you all the best on Sunday. We'll all be watching. Tom will be roaring. And you owe him plenty of fucking roars.
Yeah, I'll be there, don't worry.
Tom, alright? Don't think that man hasn't been at the MCG or the SCG, given everything he's got from his seat
Don't worry.
to you over the line. And that goes for the other 9 blokes that are freeloading, right? You tell them I said. We need you go the big lift. Big
10 of the Swans
lift.
boys will be there roaring their heads off. He'll hopefully be able to just jump in the cage and give us one of these ones with the leg over. That'd be nice. Run around the cage like this.
Give him the picket.
Yeah.
Give him the Toby Green.
C.F.Orr, legend,
Love it, mate.
Righto, time to talk cricket. Cricket brought to you by CTW Excavations. They will go where the big boys won't.
Love that.
Geez, the great man behind the scenes there at CTW was absolutely filthy about returning to work. I don't know when it was, but he let me know how bad it was. So I can only imagine how much he vented to his son and others around him.
Speaking of, before we go on, did you get the message on Australia Day, Dicko, about Oysters Kilpatrick? His version of Oysters Kilpatrick, which was, did you get that photo as well?
Oh, the dim sims.
The barbecued dim sims with
mate.
some
With
Oysters
bacon
Mo Patrick air fried chinoise, diced bacon, and Worcestershire sauce.
Oh,
How does he maintain such a good rig?
I don't know. He probably punches darts all day.
Fair enough. You heard it here first, punters. You heard it here first. The king.
It's gold because he'll be listening. He'll listen to that as well.
100%. He'll be watching. Even
No, he
better.
works hard.
I'm still like, yeah, talk is cheap, as Chet Faker once said, and
You're
we've been promised games of golf by almost every Papley with genitalia, and I've not yet had one. So, plus the flea, yeah. So, would love that to happen at some point in the next 6 months. Speaking of pills and delivering in big stages, and it was a big week for milestones. We saw some phenomenal meme work or GIF work there on the socials. There's two titans of industry, each of their own, brought up big totals. One was 1,000, and Stephen Smith's was 10,000 of the best best runs. The runs that mean the most, the runs that count the most, and the runs that we as Australians, proper Australians who love our cricket and always have loved our cricket, they're the runs that we cherish. They are test match runs, and they are a lot of them, boys, as I said at the start of the summer. They are away runs. And what did he do? He went and made another 100 away.
Yep.
On a Bunsen. Was it a Bunsen?
Yeah. I think it was spin second over of the day, so it was turning sideways.
Mine still had trouble.
Marnus did have a bit of trouble and batted the side.
Jared Waitley's calling for his sack from the Super Bowl. Shout out to Jared. Second only to David King for just they must just wake up, have a shit, have a shower, have a shave, and think, what's my hot takes going to be today? How can I fire him up today? What can I say today that might get him going?
Yeah. Let's get back on the straight and narrow. 141 of the best from Smudge. I was listening to, I was reading somewhere about people are obviously comparing, like, I think we say it all the time, you can't, like, was Black Caviar a better horse or was Winks a better horse? Like, they ran over different distance ranges, whatever, just appreciate them for what they are.
Black Caviar was better because she made runs overseas. Yeah,
well, there you go. There's one. Thanks, Jared. And then, but somebody made a very good point. And this is not knocking them how good they were, but when Ponting and those were in their prime, that was just an era for runs. Whereas, like, the last 7 years, everything's been getting back to, bar the MCG test being an absolute road, which hasn't been the last 2 years, or the last year. But when Smudge has made these runs, it's been genuinely hard to bat. Like, I'm leaning further and further that this could be, like, one of the greatest batsmen.
It's been a big
ever.
4 months for you.
Yeah. Has been a big 4 months.
Like, you've turned the corner on Smudge a little bit.
I've always undoubtedly thought he was one of their best test batsmen we've had, but I probably wasn't putting him in the lights of Ricky Ponting, and he's probably up there with Ricky for me now. Just when you really look at it further, that average scores used to be 400 plus. Like, if you made 320, you were like, oh shit, what's going on here? And we've been rolled for 80s and 150s in Australia, let alone all around the world when we're playing in India, where it's 30 takes on 50. So yeah, no, I'm really coming around to how good Smudge has been.
I think that's a really good way to measure it. What's that thing called, Tom, when you're like, you probably don't do it now, but you used to do it, and it's like your relative strength, like how much you could bench minus your body weight?
Pound for pound.
That's the way, what you're saying, Pratty.
Yeah.
Like the average first innings total was 500, and Ricky Ponting averages 51. The average first innings total is like 380, and he averages 56.
Yeah, and it'd be less than 380, I reckon, as well. I reckon it'd be 300 about, and it was probably 400 back then. So yeah, I'm really coming around to he's probably better. And I think we said the other week, we've been blessed, Dicko. You and I have watched Gilchrist, Ponting, Lara, Jacques Callis, undoubtedly probably the best Test cricketer ever.
And one of the greatest hair hats all time.
Correct. And Smudge probably takes the cake just due to the era that he's batting in.
How long do you reckon he keeps going for?
He keeps batting
I think if he keeps knocking in like the occasional ton, like he's just guaranteed another 12 months.
Yeah.
Like on his terms.
And he's not looking any older, so it's not like people could look at him and go, oh shit, he's fucking 42 now.
What is he, 36?
30, yeah, 30, 35, 36. I'll check that now.
And then he's got like,
almost
is it the Ashes this summer?
Yes.
Like, I'd imagine, I don't know. I've never had the grit in me. But, like, and no offence either to you, Pratty. Tom, you do. I'd imagine, as a professional athlete, and the ego attached and the drive that's attached, like, you want the challenge. So, like, in 4 years, if the Swans are shit and you're coming last, it's going to be harder for you to go, I'm going to fucking do another pre-season. But if you're a great side and you're going to probably play finals, then there's that emphasis there to put in, and I'm going to deliver because I'm one of the greats. And Steve gets that every year because they play this year. He's got the Ashes to sort of aim at.
That's a good point. It's I think this Ashes would be fascinating to see how he goes. I reckon he's done so well over there, and how Australia goes, to be honest, because there's probably that change in the not change in the guard, but there's a few sort of blokes that if they don't go so well, do they get in younger blokes? Do they play Constas over there? I think Uzi's made. We didn't even mention Uzi. Uzi's made 200.
Yeah, he's just cemented himself.
So he's cemented his, I think, till probably the next summer.
Yeah, isn't the Ashes in summer? Or are we going there for the Ashes?
No.
We're going there. Is it? Sorry,
yeah.
My bad. So there you go.
Yeah, so I think Usman's now into the next Ashes should he want to, which is an amazing turnaround because he was on the chopping block headed to Sydney.
I was so staunch fucking him off for this series and leaving Constas in there. Like, I can't believe Constas got dropped, but I mean, how good did Uzi bat? Like, again, another one that I probably underrated about how fucking good he plays against spin.
Yeah,
but
if you're
George Bailey must have listened to the early crow.
You're filthy about it because there's only one bloke that didn't make runs. It was Marnus. Like, Constas might have made a big 100. Full credit though to the selectors, McDonald, Bailey the Tasmanian. Like, pull the trigger, bit flary. Bloke makes a runnable 100. Josh Inglis.
Yeah.
Yep.
They've made some good calls.
But you're right, Tom. It's fascinating. Like, you got Cam Green
coming back.
Mitch Marsh is now dust.
Yeah,
it appears.
Unfortunately.
You got Sam Constas who has to play in the Ashes. Like, he has to play in the Ashes. What do you do?
Like, can Head open in Australia? Why can't Head open in Australia? Like, he puts the Constas. I thought took it too far. Where Head plays proper shots, he's experienced. He puts pressure back on the bowlers. Like, he smacks around the new ball. I think he'd be great with Uzi. The other thing, they're two lefties though.
Oh, so you're dropping Constas?
Well, can Constas go down the order?
I'm thinking, Pratty. You go first, Pratty.
Well, the thing that I'm just checking in the background, the AB medal is literally on as we speak. And guess who has won the Allan Border medal?
Stephen Smith.
Just talking about him.
Uzi.
Travis Head.
Travis Head has
won.
Let's not forget the World Cup final.
AB medal. Yep.
Yeah, he deserves it for sure.
100%.
My man.
Yep. I don't know what they're going to do with the side. The side's nuts. It's actually, but it probably goes to show you how good it is for Australia at the moment and how strong it is that we're having these conversations. Like, if you're a coach, it's actually a blessing to have these conversations. You may make a mistake and pick the wrong bloke, but at least it's not just like, oh my God, who's going to fill that void? We've actually got genuine options now in the Australian cricket team, which is elite and something that we probably haven't had. Like, bashing down the door when we were really thinking about, like, oh my God, is Marcus Harris going to get another game opening? Or, oh my God, are we going to go back to Bancroft? Like, the Bancroft probably should have got to go 2 years ago when he was dominating, or maybe a year ago. He had a really good Shield season, but at least we've now got options. And at least the selectors have to make a genuinely tough decision. And those blokes who will miss out with the ball and the bat, because, like, understandably, we took 3 spinners into this game, but, like, Boland was obviously stiff to get dropped, even though, obviously, they went for that spinner. Like, the nets must be so competitive, and the vibe around the joint just must be on, because we've actually got options for a change.
Yeah, it's going to be... It'd be interesting to see what they do this test. Obviously, those tests are miles away. Do they just throw in Constas and get him a game over there? Like, do they just give him a go, or what? Like,
I'm not sure.
Took over those young blokes. Do they play Connolly? Do they?
Sorry.
Like, I don't know. They took him over there, obviously, for experience in net sessions, but do you throw them in the deep end and give them a game? One of them or two of them a game? And they've cemented that number one spot in the championship, so they'll play that.
Yep.
they're definitely in that. They needed to win the game on the last week, so I don't know. They might throw someone in there.
Maybe they play
he
an
has
extra
to have
bat.
made runs though. Like he's like one bloke failed. One.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, is it I don't know. You can't drop any of them really. But then if you drop Marnus, it's like, the shit hits the fan sort of thing. So
This is my Ashes side. I've got one spot available.
Go on.
Head opens with Constas. Cam Green maybe bats 3 with Smudge 4, and then it's the 5 I don't have, the 5th batsman. I'm playing Josh Inglis ahead of Carey. He's a grouse batsman. Like he averages literally 100 in Test cricket, and then the bowlers. I don't have bowling
from a
in
massive
front of
sample
Hazelwood.
size.
Who do you put at 5?
Oh, fuck. I don't know if you can have Inglis in there. I don't know why they would drop Carey.
Because the guy will make more runs than Carey will.
McSweeney down the order.
I don't think he can have McSweeney Head as an opener who hasn't done it a hell of a lot. He'll only arguably have 2 more opportunities before we play the Ashes to open.
You remember Virendra Sehwag?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like we'd have him on steroids times 2. Like there'll be Test matches in the Ashes where Australia win a toss and bat, and at lunch they're none for 260.
Can you tell me who opened with Sehwag during that time? That's right. You can't because they were boring and they knocked the ball around. You do have to have
first drop.
Yeah,
Sachin, then VVS.
I don't think you can have 2 people attacking at the top. I don't think you can have 2 people.
I'd argue that Constas has some of the best straightforward defence in the team, and you say, Constas, you bat properly, how do you play your shots, and then you'll get the best out of Constas.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it'll take the pressure off the young man being the big flair man, because he's got Travis Head with him instead of old man Usman just.
So you've just said Usman's locked himself in for another year, and then you've just gone. See you, mate. 200. There you go.
I fear that that's how it works. But to the credit of this selection group, they've shown that they're not afraid to make big calls.
Yeah, he's averaging 45.48 opening the batting.
Yeah, I love Woozy, but I'd like to just see it change just for fun. Fuck it, just change it up.
Yeah, I think this test, you're right, Paps. It'd be such a tough decision, and as you know, you're all competitors. If Horse or Coxie came up and just tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, mate, have this week off."
Speaking of Horse and Cox, Pratty, what about the Slug? We forgot about him.
Yeah, well, the Slug, I assume you were talking about him as a bowler, and he was going to be down the order.
Women's Ashes, the day-night test at the MCG, pink ball. Australia absolutely dominated the Poms. It was glorious, and I watched a heap of it.
Yeah, I watched a shitload.
Which is new for me. I'm evolving, and I think as the sport evolves, but I reckon a little bit like Stephen Smith making runs home and away at the test level, Paps coming through, waking up at 11 a.m. on the dot to turn on the Adelaide test or the Brisbane test and watching Shane Warne just bowl from one end and McGrath from the other. That's how I cut my teeth. And to see Alana King rip these little leggies and just drift them across, and they ripped. It's the most fucking beautiful thing in sport is a glorious leg spin bowler, and she is it.
Did you hear her on the commentary? She said that they were talking to her during the game, and she said she was getting too close to the stumps and she wasn't giving it the opportunity to rip. And then, 2 overs later, after she bowled 1 over from wider of the crease, she let that ball go that, pitched outside leg and spun and hit the top of off. It was awesome. One of my old cricket coach is actually her manager, and he's relocated to the Gold Coast and just putting his feet up and just living off her royalties, which is great to see because good old Schnauter can't even read. So good on the great man. He had 2 of the great spinners of all time. He manages Alana King and fucking Clive Rose for the Hurricanes.
He used to coach me in cricket, the old Clivey.
Oh, there you go. But no, how good was the women's test, but more importantly, the Ashes. 16-0 whitewash. First time ever in an Ashes series where one team has won every point that was available. They do it obviously a bit different to the men. They play 3 T20s and 3 ODIs, which are all worth 2 points each, and then whatever the makeup is for the test, I think it's 4. And yeah, Australia won everything and basically dominated from ball 1, which was a while ago in one of the T20s all the way through. Absolute pleasure. And then on the back of that too, I love watching the women's cricket. I just think they're so skillful, and I think a little bit like what you said, Dicko, The men's is really entertaining, but like the way the women play the game is more like what we watched when we were growing up, just like really technically sound, correct cricket, putting the ball through gaps and hitting it along the ground. But Beth Mooney becomes the fourth person all time and the first Australian to score 100 in a Test match, an ODI, and a T20 for the women's game.
I think it's
Pretty
a little
awesome.
bit like the women's tennis for me. It's like a pure form of the sport. You hit angles and you try and get into the net, and there's not just some superhuman 6'9" freak up the other end from Italy or from fucking some other European country that doesn't get tired and doesn't miss shots and doesn't let the ball go past him. And fuck, if I keep watching another set, I'm going to be really tired tomorrow. This is on prime time at the G, the pink ball, she's fizzing it. What she needs, Alana, is a slider or a nude ball, something that goes straight on, because they're just ripping too hard. We've all been there. It might have been in the backyard, it might have been an Astro pitch, whatever it was.
Underarm to Das in the front yard.
I've got one coming out the front now.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
Trouble is, if you pitch it up, it's going the same place anyway. He almost fucking killed my youngest son the other day, hey.
Go
I
on.
bowled him just I call it, in my mind, it's like the Nathan Horrocks, just a little bit of soft, tweaky off breaks.
Yeah.
And right in the slot, I've
Right
got
arm
Teddy
hit,
next to
beg
me
yours.
to catch the ball if it comes near his head. Off drive, flushed like as it bounced. I just touched it enough that it missed Teddy's bonce.
On the bricks at the front there too.
He still cried like he got hit, but he didn't get hit.
Love
Ted
it.
needs to work on that, and Darcy's going great. Alana King, outstanding. She's a gift, and she'll be very, very, very watchable.
Player
Wherever
of the
she
Ashes.
goes, people will have... and that's what cricket is, isn't it? It's not like, I'm going to commit to watching this like this the whole day.
Yep.
It's on in the background.
Yeah.
She's a glorious bowler.
Sutherland, good cricketing family.
Yeah, 100%.
Pedigree off its head.
Yeah, they'll be very good. The old Souther, I reckon he'll be pushing IPL next year.
It's got to be a
You'd
chance.
love to take a half brother or sister up to the Magic Millions next year. You'd get a shitload for him. What a pedigree.
Yeah.
Speaking of pedigrees, we're stepping way outside of our lane, swimming outside of the flags. We'd normally require Dan Bowman or potentially the Cross, but he's apparently trying to do things to get his hair to grow back. Dallas Mavericks have traded Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers for essentially Anthony Davis, who's a very tall man and a great player, but not a potentially generational MVP.
31-year-old injury-prone Anthony Davis for a 25-year-old young potential franchisee player of the future who's going to genuinely put bums on seats.
Take it away, Pratty.
I text Dan, so it's funny that you say Dan Bowman. I messaged Dan. I said, to an NBA casual fan, what the fuck is his trade? And he wrote back, insane Lakers positioning for life after LeBron, and Dallas is trying to strengthen to win now of the players that they've brought in with the trade. But the only thing that I really wanted to bring up with this trade is like Luka Doncic and poor Luka. He can only sign now for, this is US dollars too. He can only now sign for a max contract of $229 million because he's been traded. If he had stayed with the Mavs, and which was all done under the table apparently, and he didn't know about it, he would have been eligible for a 5-year, $345 million Supermax contract. So he's lost out on $116 million over 5 years for being traded.
Plus, he's the king of Dallas, which is probably bigger than Australia.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
so I was talking
all the outside deals you'd get, Pratty, whereas now he goes to LA and everyone who wants to spend money endorsing a player has already spent it on LeBron.
Yeah, but there's just infinite money in LA, and he is genuinely going to be like the person that puts bums on their seats going forward. Like the Lakers have got themselves the best marketing tool of all time. He's playing with LeBron now, and LeBron will play 1-2 more years if he's freakish 3. And then they've got a player for that, assuming his body holds up, because that is the one worry. That's what a lot of people have been saying. That maybe they were a bit worried about his body and his durability. Like, they've now got their next LeBron for the next 10 years. That's smart. That's really, really smart.
Yeah, they've done well.
It's interesting, like, it makes us talk about the NBA. Like, I will
100%.
watch the NBA the next few days and hopefully see the first game that they play without each other and when that sort of stuff.
It happened. The Raptors put up 50 or something in the first
Cavs.
quarter. The Cavs put up 50 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
To the Mavs 19 after they traded Luka.
What do you think about?
But Luka's been injured though.
Yeah.
Luka's out for a month.
About it all? You've got a different point of view to the rest of us. So from all reports, Luka Doncic had no idea this happened.
He had no idea.
Yeah.
LeBron had no idea this happened in AD. AD had no idea.
Yeah, it's hard to say that. Geez, I'd be very surprised if LeBron didn't know that it was happening. I know reports say they're not, but like, mate, if it's pretty much just like trading Chad Warner for I don't know who's like a 30-year-old star in the AFL.
Like, without sounding rude, but Josh Kelly, who's been a little bit injury prone and he's not.
Yeah, but he's still a gun.
He's still a gun, but he's not 24 years
like
old.
you're gonna hear. You'd think you'd hear about it. Like I don't know. LeBron's LeBron.
Well, going on
Surely
that as well, he must have, because AD is his agent is Rich Paul, and Rich Paul and LeBron own Clutch Sports, so there's no way that LeBron.
Yeah, but I don't.
it.
From what I understood of it, the tiny bits I consumed today, it's not like they don't go, hey Tom Papley, just confirming, mate, we're going to send you to Carlton for this guy. It's done. Are you happy enough with that? I know it's business. They don't. It sounds today like, oh, look, Tom, can you come and chat to us? You've been sent to Carlton.
Yeah, they've got no rights to players over there, which is crazy.
The agents know anything about this one.
But even the players don't even have it to say. Like, you can't say no.
They trade them like stock, like an asset. Like,
it's crazy. Yeah, I think it'd be crazy to happen in the AFL, but I doubt it gets like that because the union of AFL players is very for the players.
It's no good for the player, but it's fucking outstanding for the
for
game.
the league, yeah, for sure.
If you got traded to like Freo tomorrow in the trade window for fucking whatever, it just blows up the sport.
Yeah.
It fucks your life and the other guy's life, but it blows up the sport.
Yeah.
It's like what you said after the last NBA season, Dicko, that like they have a trade period straight away and people move, so that already outside of their season they've had their finals, and then you're already talking about the next thing, and then before you know it, the draft rolls around.
Yeah.
So they've been talking about the draft, then it becomes a 12-month sport, and they don't play for 12 months.
And their access is just so much better than the AFL.
Yeah.
And the NRL. Like, Kate Eagles is talking about it, like, openly, like he was talking to you or me, you know? It's fucked. Like, I can't believe it. I don't know what else is going to happen. It's like 2 days to go. I'm just watching my phone.
Yeah, crazy.
Because it'll be a free-for-all now. It could be, like, a lot more fearless. The guys trading and...
Yeah. On the other hand, I took 26s about the Lakers into 17s.
Oh, that is
Shop early, boys.
Apparently the Lakers can't win now because they haven't got a big.
Yeah, but they're shopping hard for a centre. If they get a centre and they work well, ask Dan.
Because they can keep trading.
Yeah, keep trying. They need a centre. They have to get a centre. But if they land a centre that's decent, they'll come in again. And then
Why
they
don't
just need
get some big fossil?
Yeah, just get some big dude. Like, they just need a big dude that has a crack. I got no idea, but that's what I've been told.
Kendrick Perkins out of retirement. Big Shaq
Big
out of
Bogut,
retirement.
send him over.
Yeah.
He want to go back now that Trump's back in.
Yeah.
100%. It's it's good. Oh, you can't ask Dan about the Lakers anyway, mate. He's a Lakers fan. He'll put too much gloss on it.
What are we? With Super Bowl? Are we talking about that?
Superbowl Monday. Don't forget, Caulfield's got a glorious race day on. I'll have a full set, baby. I cannot wait. Provided that Pratty, Zav, Lindsay, and Harrow all do their jobs, we'll be away. We'll be away on Monday for the Super Bowl. It's a glorious day every year for those that can get to it. People like Tom probably in early with the boys, have a little session on fucking Nana's Nintendo, and find a good place to settle in and enjoy it all, huh?
I'll be working my ass off, mate. We've got training Monday.
No Bricky's laptops?
Nah, well, I don't know. Hopefully we've got some light session. Hopefully Coxie's very adaptable. He might be able to just change it up a bit. I don't know.
Super Bowl, yeah.
What's the line, Pratty? Chiefs just got it, don't you?
Take it away, Tom. Run us through the Super Bowl. This year's edition is the Eagles taking on the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs. Mahomes going for 3 in a row.
which is interesting. The guy
There's history
who
behind that.
coached the Lakers and coached the Miami Heat and runs the Miami Heat, Pat Riley,
Oh, yep. Sorry.
he's trademarked three-peat.
No.
So if Kansas win and three-peat, he makes millions.
Oh, my God.
But he's what?
He trademarked three-peat.
That's
Wow.
outstanding foresight.
Like in the 80s, 90s, I don't know when, you know?
Oh, my God.
Fucking genius.
That's
So
proper.
no one's cheering for the Chiefs and Patrick and Kelsey and everyone harder than Pat Riley, who
Yeah, bloody
is
hell.
heavily involved in the Miami Heat NBA side, was around, and you know he was there when Magic Johnson was at the Lakers. Bit of side story. Tom, back to the footy.
Yeah, I think I'll be on the Chiefs, going for the history. It's hard to go past Mahomes. It's a rematch, isn't it? From last year?
No, it was
No.
the 49ers versus the Chiefs
Nah,
last year.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Overtime, was it?
Yeah,
Yes.
and Paddy Mahomes just did what he does.
And
I think
Zara had something
Yeah.
like running, and he was just roaring the whole way home.
yeah,
And he
he'll
missed
be
it.
over there.
Yeah,
He'll be over there.
It was an over-under for a player receiving yard and didn't
Yeah,
receive
yeah.
any extra in overtime.
That's it. But yeah, I'll be on the Chiefs. Hopefully, be finished training and just get the second half, or maybe Coxie flips it around. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll be watching it for sure, cheering on the Chiefs.
Pratty, what do you got?
All the stats say that Philly has been the better side on offense with points scored and defense with points allowed. And they're $2.
I love it when
So
you do research.
I'll just have a small amount on at $2. I reckon head to head, and yeah, I think if nobody can stop Saquon Barkley at the moment, and if he gets on a roll, it's literally all over.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What if Mahomes gets on a roll?
I don't think that KC have the offensive weapons that Philly do with the way that Saquon Barkley opens up that side for blokes like AJ Brown who probably underperformed in the playoffs too.
That's been the Early Crow, episode 63. Brought to you by Makita, powered by CTW Excavations. And the big part of today's show, whenever you get it, is PharJack, Jack Jenkins, who's going to war on Sunday, UFC 312. It's going to be on free-to-air, or not free-to-air, it's going to be on
KO.
your Foxtel, your KO, at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Australia. Do the right thing and get around the great man. Shoot him a message, and if you're there, like Tom's going to be, we need those fucking tonsils. We need to get into it and give him everything you got. It's all about PharJack. I hope you really enjoy the show. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858 or visit the website.
Bye for now.